19th meeting to order, first order of business, pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next order of business would be to approve the minutes of our last session on August the 5th.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Vote.
Yes.
Public comment period, Brookside,
Nothing in the report.
Waynes and Hills.
We need to get scheduled for the bike bus. Because I think Officer Rice escorts them on Wednesdays. So, other than that, no, I don't have nothing to report.
Have Connor Rebello.
Trying to have lunch with the president of their HOA. If there's anything to share with him, just let us know and take that along with me and talk about community and partnerships.
Next up would be. Assuming the guy with all the drawings back there is Mr. Foster.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Where's the best place to stand at? Just right
Wherever
here?
you're comfortable.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Brad Foster, Franklin County Engineer. Been in the role since February 1st of 2024, so just a short time, but wanted to stop in, introduce myself. Just, provide any engineering services that our office can provide the township. I've had a great working relationship with Chet and Ian over the years on our township resurfacing programs and many different programs that we've done, so. I feel those relationships have kind of already been established and are really in good standing, so appreciate you guys' effort on there, but I just want to introduce myself and provide a couple details of some things that we got going on, and how we can help the township, go forward. So as I mentioned, our 2024 resurfacing program is already off the bone. We always do this. This is an annual program that the county engineer's office offers all the townships in Franklin County. So what we do is we get you guys a list of roadways that you're interested in resurfacing. And then we combine those into one large contract and then sell that to improve our unit price and efficiency of work, and you guys can capitalize on the size and scale of our contract. So that contract's going real well. It's with Shelley Company this year. It's about $5 million in total, with all the different townships on board. And hopefully you guys are seeing some results already in the process and getting roads resurfaced. So good news on that. And I also wanted to mention, we've also we're in the process of getting really close to receiving your guys' 2025 OPWC request, which includes Candlewood, Beach Lake Drive, Mark Haven Drive, and Markland Street. So those are on the 2025 program, which on a successful application, we can start those projects after July 1st of 2025. So looking forward to get those rolling and be a part of the 2025 program. And I did mention OPWC because as part of me coming here tonight, I just wanted to let you guys know that the 10-year state capital improvement program and the local transportation improvement program will be coming to an end. This is the 10-year OPWC application process that the state basically approves this on a 10-year cycle. The last ones, this will be the last cycle unless the Ohio legislation acts. The last cycle will be January 1st of 2025. So with you guys being OPWC applicant pretty much on an annual basis, this program is really near and dear to you guys' heart and a vital role in your infrastructure program. And I would encourage you guys to advocate for not only the legislation to get this on the ballot potentially early in 2025, but then also to legislate for the passage of this. This will go towards the voters of the state of Ohio. Potentially for the primary ballot in 2025. And this is something that is very important. It has produced over 2.3 billion in infrastructure over the previous 9 years. with that 2.3 billion, we've got, or the state has compounded that into 7.6 billion, so it's a major infrastructure. Funding that we use, the county engineer's office uses, a lot of the townships use. It's a very important program that you guys essentially participate in annually. Linda Bailoff is the director for OPWC. And we will also be inviting her to the 2024 township dinner. And she'll have a discussion on that to inform all the townships at our dinner, which if you guys want to note down already, it's going to be November 21st, 2024 at 5:30 at Villa Milano. So November 21st, 5:30 at Villa Milano. That will be the annual township dinner that the county engineer puts on. We'll have all the townships there, other elected officials. As I mentioned, Linda Bailoff will be one of our guest speakers there to talk about the OPWC process. Additionally, I'd like to update you guys, and you guys may be aware of this, but just wanted to mention, through the collaborative work through our office, you guys are also successful for the Safe Routes to School program that's put on by our mobility department. Mike Andreyko kind of runs this, and you guys have got two projects. One will be at Millbury Road and McVeigh Boulevard next to Brookside Elementary School area. So there'll be some additional sidewalks on both of those streets that will be constructed in 2025. So look forward to that project coming up here next summer. And then also we got, we're connecting the sidewalk on the south side of Candlewood Drive with new pedestrian facilities at Club View and Candlewood. So look for that project also in 2025. And then one final date that I have not mentioned yet, which is our 2024 annual Franklin County Rodeo, which is the rodeo is kind of it gears us up for our snow and ice operations. We do invite the townships to participate in that. You're more than welcome to bring some of your snowplow drivers over to kind of get a early experience and run through our obstacle course to kind of sharpen their skills. That date is September 26th, 2024. And just let me know, how many guys you want to send up, and you guys are always willing to participate in that and be a part of that. Once again, September 26th, 2024 will be our rodeo date. And the other date I mentioned, November 21st of 2024, 5:30 will be the township dinner with the county engineer's office. So that's all I kind of had. I just want to introduce myself. Once again, Chet, appreciate you having me up here. I work with Chet quite a bit over the years, so just want to introduce myself and say hi. And if you guys need anything or engineering services, please reach out. If you have any questions, I'll gladly answer. I did bring 10 maps. You guys requested 10 maps, so I got 10 full-size maps, photocopies on photo paper. So really pretty high quality, but you guys will be all set. And let me know if you guys need any engineer stuff.
We need to have you come speak has Jim Joel reached out to you about the Safety Day conference?
In December, when we do that in December?
September. I think
Okay.
It's gonna be this year. So
Okay.
I'll follow up with Jim, make sure he gets a date
Yeah.
on your calendar. We'd love to have you speak at the luncheon
Okay, yeah, no problem.
with the county. Yeah. Thank you.
Fiber mat, 2 words.
Fiber mat. Yeah, so this board loves fiber mat.
Okay.
First of all, and I just want to say that Mark Mullinex has been super, your whole crew's been super, but I know that Ian is reaching out tomorrow to Mark about scheduling the fiber mat to go down before the paving goes down. That's our little difficult thing. We like it,
Yep.
but it's not necessarily readily available all the
Yeah.
time. So he'll reach out to Mark and kind of see where we are in the scheduling of that.
Yeah. And we've had discussions on this before, Chet, and, really for us, we try to provide a nice, package, to the townships. There are maybe a few townships that do include the fiber mat, product in their bids, or they like that product. What I can say, from experience with the resurfacing program, that with the fiber mat, there's just certain contractors that do that. And as you guys are aware, when we sell our contract in, May or June, we're kind of projecting out to now we're in August trying to eventually get fiber mat down. A lot of times we don't know exactly when those dates are gonna happen based on our contractor of when we sell that contract in June. So if we hit a week, you know, your township might be the first on the list and maybe towards the end. It just kind of depends on how the contractor puts that together, but there is a lot of scheduling things, but we do try to do our best to try to provide those because we understand that's important material that you guys are looking for. And I know, you know, previously in 2023 that we had to use an alternate material, so
Right.
we try our best to make that happen.
The roads have been milled, curbs have been done, we're just kind of waiting for the
Yeah.
fiber mat to come and then pave it and we'll be done.
And there might even be a little bit more maybe of a delay in
We'll
that
deal with that.
process where you have milled surface because of that.
We'll explain that to the residents, so,
They're getting a better product, so
yeah.
you actually gotta wait.
You know,
We don't get the product at all.
Mister, you want it right.
We don't get the product at all.
I understand that, I understand that.
we thank you.
Thanks.
You got a great team.
Yep, I'll just leave those maps right there and you guys can
Thank
hang them
you.
up in every room.
There we go.
All right, good seeing you.
Thank you very much.
Before we get to the employee benefits guys, it's like the second time in a row I've ignored you back there.
This gentleman for the county is way more important than I am.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, not a whole lot to report. School starts out for a lot of schools, so you will see us out and about. We had a big thing on the news, I think it was yesterday. So we hit the school zones pretty heavy. Obviously, your township police department does a fantastic job in your school zone, but we'll be hitting the other unincorporated area school zones pretty heavy. And then, we appreciate you, letting Officer Consul come to our standard field sobriety class. Unfortunately, I'm sorry you were unable to come and be a test subject and record us, but I actually have another one coming up next Friday, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. keep
Where at?
You're looking for some morning drinking opportunities.
Yeah, some more.
He's not fake. What's going on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to talk to Officer Constable about his experience with it, so, but other than that, you guys have a good for me.
Cool.
Nothing says happy Friday like that. Nobody tequila, you know?
The story you're, I mean, prepare yourself for Ohio State tailgate.
There you go.
That's what I look at. So I have to travel down to Brown Township.
At 8 a.m. Nothing better.
So I'm sorry, I won't be able to stick around longer. So I'm sorry again for Detective Petty last week. I didn't know he was coming, so I hope he didn't embarrass himself.
He did a very good job.
Okay, perfect. I have to go deal with him now down in Brown, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, Jesse.
All right, switching things around a little bit. Folks, welcome back. The floor is yours.
Thanks for having us back. We appreciate it.
So I just want to kind of set the stage here. So I did ask them to come back. First of all, Michelle wasn't here, so it's important that still is here. And this is that busy season where we kind of have to make a decision of where we're moving. Obviously, we had burn and flowers and we understand that we are not under contract with them, that's one thing. One is Beth and I had a conversation with them in between trustee meetings and one of the things that we talked about is that their ability to advocate for our employees. We're not in the healthcare industry per se, so we don't know all the language that they use and all the particulars of that industry, but we've searched and searched, so to speak, for a group that would advocate for our employees when it comes to when a doctor tries to get people on medication, but the insurance company denies it. What we've been seeing recently is in some situations where our broker has just kind of basically cut and paste and sent back the answer from the insurance company. And so we're a small operation. And we profess that, you know, we're a family operation and we try to advocate for our employees when they need someone to stand up for them. And so whether it's that or improper coding going on or whatever, one of the things that stood out to me was that this company has a 12-member team that all they do is advocate for their clients and the employees of their clients when it comes to questions about billing, medication, referrals, anything like that. And I think that that's something that we should strongly take into account when we're looking for an insurance broker. I think we can get an insurance broker pretty much anywhere. But it's how they treat their clients and the employees of their clients is the most important thing. And so I asked them to come back more or less to answer questions that the board may have. And to say that they're available to have one-on-one conversations. I know we have a lot of stuff that comes before the board. Not a lot of time to look at because we all have day jobs. But they are available to talk to you more in depth about their services and their experience. Beth is doing some due diligence on her end in regards to clients that are of township nature. So that we always try to check to say, well, this sales pitch was this. What was your true experience? And that's what she's going through. I know that Michelle has offered to have a conversation with them, talk to our current broker and do some additional due diligence in that regard. But I've asked them to come back to at least answer some additional questions that anybody had. And I'd like for them to talk a little more about their advocacy group and refresh our memories about what they do and how they help.
Yeah, no, you did a great job describing it, Chet, and thank you for all your time, and you too, Beth, for talking us through the situation and letting us continue conversation. So appreciate that. But the way you described our advocacy team was very accurate. I think that's what a lot of our clients, before they move to us, their prior experience a lot of times is their human resources or finance team shouldering a lot of the weight and helping employees with issues when they come up. And we saw that as a need about 10, 15 years ago and created this advocacy team specifically to only do this on a day-to-day basis. So they field calls and emails from employees of our clients from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. But obviously, if there's an after hours type of situation that comes up, can always reach out via email and they'll get on it within 48 hours. Anything that's urgent. You guys will have our contact information and our cell phones, so we're always available and can escalate things when there's an emergent need. But that's a whole specialized animal navigating the insurance space, the hospital system space, talking to insurance carriers and hospital systems on the behalf of an employee. And that's why we felt that people in Mike and I's role and even our account management teams that service townships and other clients out there in the market, it just wasn't what they were specialized in doing. So we needed a team that's all they do on a day-to-day basis and could really become experts in that. So we have internal tracking to track how many people are calling in, what are they calling in for, how long did it take to get the issue resolved, all those types of things that we can report back to our clients on so they know the issues that are going on with their employees. So that's just a little bit high level in the advocacy team. I don't know if there's any specific questions on that team or just us in general as you look through the material we provided, but like Chet said, we're happy to answer any questions tonight. We're also happy to set up any one-on-one meeting time at your convenience and look at calendars together, make sure we find some time. So
I did want to add that they both sent me over a list of different places to contact, so I'll start on that tomorrow. Also, I think there were 3 different letters from other organizations, kind of speaking to their experience, and how they kind of view their company. So, but
You
that
noticed
is in our.
They were all prescription related.
Yeah, I can name that tune right now.
Yeah.
So in any case, that's all in your sync tool as well, if you'd like to review that.
yeah, I think we share notes of appreciation from our clients or the employees of our clients every month at our all employee meetings. So one of our people get up. Our corporate office is in Dayton. We've got locations in Cincinnati, Columbus, Indianapolis, Cleveland, and Northern Kentucky. But our Dayton corporate office, they'll read and we'll be on Zoom from our office, and probably 90% of those notes that get read every month are on our advocate team.
Yeah.
So that's
Good.
probably, if you ask most of our clients, the number one thing that they love about working with us. I'd love to say that it's me or Mike, but it's probably the advocate team, obviously responsiveness, all those things that. That as an HR or finance person managing the benefits you need from a. Like leadership level, those are all things we provide too, but advocate team in the service of the employees of our clients is a big thing, so.
So what's the, I mean, is that just part of the service? Like if we want with you guys, that's just part of the service? Do we pay additional if we have to engage the advocacy, a team? Like how does, I mean, I'm sure if, like there would be other places that would have this, but why, you know, like, I'm sure we gotta pay for it somewhere.
Yeah, good question, and actually the cost for our services is already built into your insurance premium. So on the, let's say you switch to us, you know. We don't necessarily make any more than your current broker, the compensation's already built into the current coverages, so. The cost, there is no additional cost for the advocacy team, it's an investment we made based on our size and scope and what we saw as a need in the market to be a differentiator for us, so. It's built in to what we would already be compensated, nothing additional there for the advocate team. So.
And
but
that's,
good question.
I'm sorry, but that's based on Med Mutual, not a
Correct.
scale that you folks.
Yeah, in the under 50 employee space, there's very little flexibility from a broker perspective on how much we get compensated. It's very standard. Each carrier is different. I don't know Medical Mutual off the top of my head, but it's somewhere between $25 per employee per month and $35 per employee per month on the medical insurance. But good question on the advocate team, that there are services out there that are like independent advocate groups. And that cost is usually somewhere between $8 and $12 per employee per month to engage with a team that all they do is advocacy. Those are geared more towards larger entities, and there's usually size thresholds on whether they'll work with certain groups, so.
So the only thing that would change for us would be using you instead of Burnham and Flowers, and you would be providing the exact same services with the exact same insurers, Burnham and Flowers. But bring to the table this added advocacy component.
Correct, so with a couple caveats that are unique to Burnham and Flower and the way that they operate. We talked about this a little bit too, but 95% of the time, take over a relationship. We can come in and do what's called an agent of record letter transfer from a current broker to us and take over all lines of coverage as they sit today. The two big pieces are that make the Burnham and Flower relationship different is the health reimbursement arrangement, which is owned by Burnham and Flower. So if you all were to make the decision to move to us or anybody else out there, that HRA would need to be replaced by an independent administrator that's not associated with Burnham and Flower. So from a timeline perspective, we outline that toward the end of that presentation. But what that would look like is, let's say you made a decision by the end of August. We submitted a letter to the insurance carriers early September, let's say. How it would likely go, and I can't guarantee this because it's kind of up to Burnham and Flower as to how they want to do it, but there's something else out there that we'll talk about that'll make it a little bit easier to transition, but essentially we would get a download from Burnham and Flower of all the HRA data from, let's say, January 1st of this year to the end of September. Let's say the HRA stayed on through the end of September. We would get that data. There would be a probably 2-week blackout period where employees would not be able to access or submit for reimbursement. And then after that 2-week blackout period, the new HRA administrator would have their system set up. Cards would go out, and by the end of October, what would that be? Yeah, the end of October, all employees would have HRA cards in their hand and be able to use those. So the HRA is one thing that would have to change, but typically those types of things wouldn't have to change. And then the other thing is your dental, vision, and life insurance are currently in what's called PEBA, the Public Employee Benefits Association, which is also owned by Burke and Flower. So if we were to take over those lines of coverage in the middle of the year, there would be a risk that those rates could change. So if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't want to change the dental and vision and life insurance representation in the middle of the year, because there would be a risk there that I feel good about the fact that with our relationships with your current carriers, with Delta Dental, with VSP, and with Medical Mutual and the life insurance, that we'd be able to negotiate a rate hold and no change to the benefits or the rates. But there would be a period of uncertainty there that if I were in your shoes, I just wouldn't want to have that risk. I'd rather just change the medical piece, change the HRA piece, allow us to do our standard review of the market on those dental, vision, and life insurance policies to be able to have some leverage with those carriers come January 1st. So that's all those are the things that make it a little bit different. But I think that it's just from your guys' standpoint, is the advocacy worth that change? And we're equipped and have gone through those processes with other employers, so it's not something we haven't done before. But Michelle?
Yeah, you were talking about the HRA, and I understand the need to change from under Burnham and Flowers if we were to move forward. Did I hear you correctly that would be an independent separate company, or it would be?
Yes.
So it does not fall under something that you manage?
Correct. No, so we, much like you partner with Medical Mutual, Delta Dental, VSP, we would contract with an independent company, most likely Employee Benefits Corporation is what they're called. They do a great job on health reimbursement arrangements and have cards that can be used as well. And I would say it's a best practice to partner with an independent entity in case, let's say a year or two down the line, we're not doing what you think we need to be doing from a broker perspective. It makes it a lot easier to transition because then that's not tied to us at all. We still manage and represent you on behalf with that. Like, let's say something went wrong with HRA. We're the ones working with the HRA company to get that problem fixed. But we're not tied to them in any way.
Okay, so you would manage it for us. We wouldn't be sourcing our own vendor.
Correct.
However, whatever costs we talk through about this would not include managing of the HSA.
The HRA, if you're not, yeah, no, that's okay. Do you know if you're paying Burnham and Flower an HRA administrative expense right now?
We are,
Okay,
yeah.
I was
Trying to think.
probably about $5 per employee.
It's not hardly anything, yeah.
And that's what most HRA administration costs are right now, $4 to $6 per employee per month. Arena, so.
Thank you.
I didn't even hear it. Does that whole transition process, the way I explained it, make sense? I want to make sure I explained that.
No, I
well, 'cause-
understand.
Okay.
So this is just kind of talking about time frame. Hypothetically, if we were to move in this direction, we would need, as a board, we need to make that decision optimally by the end of this month.
I did put you in the most ideal position by the end of this month, because what that would allow us to do is at the 120 days mark from January 1st, you're allowed to start that form fire process that I know everybody probably loves so much. Although now that you've done it many times, it's very easy to keep it updated, but you'd be able to start that process 120 days out from your renewal. So the sooner we can get that process started, that way it's complete, the better. That way, as soon as we receive the renewal from Medical Mutual, there's no downtime, like waiting. We like to complete the form fire process prior to getting the renewal, so that everything that needs to be done is done, and we're just waiting on Medical Mutual to get their renewal to us. Then as soon as we get the renewal, we can decide, okay, are we going to market? Are we negotiating a pre-negotiated offer at a lower rate? What does that look like? It just goes a lot better doing it that way as opposed to waiting until we get the renewal, then having to scramble to do form fire. Just puts the timeline just farther, so. That's the reasoning behind end of August. I would say if you stretched into mid-September, that would be okay. You wouldn't, but I would say any farther than September 15th, you'd be putting yourself behind the 8 ball.
Right.
Even bleeding into September still isn't ideal, but it is very doable, not something we don't do, so.
When is our first meeting in September?
The 4th.
That's on Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Oh, right.
Wednesday.
Hold on a second, bachelor or something.
Yeah, this one's.
You know, I hope this thing-
Andy?
Any questions?
Nasty.
And I'm sorry, because I haven't looked through all of
Oh,
this.
that's-
Do you have your
you're good.
contact information in here if? we have
Yes,
trouble?
it might not be in there, but
I got it, okay.
So, yeah, don't hesitate to reach it. We're happy to meet one-on-one if needed to answer any questions or talk through things, because I know it's a lot of information, so. Happy to help, yep.
Would there be any interest in a special meeting? Since the 4th isn't gonna work, or do you wanna look further out? We,
I could do it the 5th or the 6th. I'm out all next week and then. On vacation.
oh, the 5th or the 6th,
I'll be back on. But
yeah, so 6 would be early, so.
when, is that Friday?
it's a fun-
Yeah.
Well, look at that, or early morning Friday, would that work on the 6th?
Yeah, I can do it. We'll put it on, yeah, we'll put it on the calendar.
8 a.m. Or do you want it at 7:30 this time?
I have a 9 o'clock, so if we are. And a 10. If we can be done by. 8:45,
Do you wanna start at 7:30?
7:30 too early.
Go with me.
it's usually when he's having his tequila down at the. Sheriff's office, so you know.
Okay.
He's gonna show up in our healthcare costs.
And what I'll do is I'll share their contact information with all of you, so if you need to talk to them one-on-one, or if you want me to set something up, just let me know. Sure.
I don't know if you need us present for that meeting, but we're available if needed, so.
Oh,
Okay. That's just keep us posted on that, so.
You can talk to.
Mhm.
Okay.
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 All right, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you all.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a
Take care. Have a good
Yeah,
night.
have a good one.
Zoning.
Zoning, old business, there is no update on Brookside Cottages, development. I have not heard from anyone regarding, the start date or next steps. In fact, I have not checked to see if the property is transferred at this point yet, but, I'll be checking that later this week. On, Riverside Drive, the weeds are growing again. I checked with council. We will have to have another resolution declaring it a nuisance again to hire an outside company to trim the weeds again. So I will have that prepared for the next meeting because it's marginal right now, but by the next meeting, it will be a nuisance. And so we'll have to do that. I was wondering if any one of the trustees wanted to reach out to the owner. I've tried and tried and tried. They live locally in Dublin. No response to emails, phone calls, certified mail. Just a question. I didn't know. Yeah,
More than one too.
I'm sorry.
I'm happy to.
I mean, we don't know at this point what their plans are even, so I can give you
Yeah,
information.
that's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll do that. New business, we had a request from a real estate agent. Wondering whether a buyer of a house in Worthington Hills would be able to use it as solely as an Airbnb. And the way she put it, it is currently being used solely as an Airbnb, and the new buyer wants to continue to do that. I checked with council. We have no regulations regarding short-term rentals. We have a standalone section in the code that deals with bed and breakfast inns. And it is a standalone section that does not define bed and breakfast inns. It doesn't define where they are allowed to be. It requires that the owner of the property reside full-time on the property. That section does not apply to short-term rentals, as you can understand. Council is letting us know that more court cases are being decided in favor of short-term rentals, being in conformity with residential uses of property, because the short-term rental people are doing the same thing that long-term people are doing. They're living there, they're sleeping there, they're eating there. And so the court cases are coming down more on the side of short-term rentals to fall under residential use under the zoning codes. The reason I have it on the agenda is maybe we want to start talking about if we want to have the discussion to put in language as to some sort of regulations to regulate short-term rentals in residential areas.
Yeah, I talked about this, and I just, I don't have an opinion one way as somebody that uses Airbnbs a lot. They kind of have a checks and balance system in that, if I rent a place and I absolutely destroy it, I'm gonna get low ratings and probably not gonna have the, other renters rent to me. So, and then on the same point, but my feeling is as long as, they're being, the yard's being kept, which you're gonna rent out your place, you gotta have it kind of in tip-top shape. I mean, you're reading reviews, you're doing other things, so it's kind of a checks and balances. I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I just don't wanna get into rewriting code to try to take care of something that we don't have a clue how it's gonna unfold. But I will tell you, I use Airbnbs a lot, like them, never had a problem with them, and
And of course, we don't have any regulations regarding long-term rentals either, and so, we can't.
Well, I can tell you though, I know for a fact that all these developments that they're doing down more in the downtown area in the short north and Italian Village and Victorian Village and so on and so forth. They're all putting in those short-term rentals because the people don't wanna, they tend to be noisy, they tend to be there for parties, they tend to rent them out for football games. And all that, and I've never heard that they're being struck down, so, that's different when you're maybe a condo association or some kind of like planned development. As opposed to a governmental entity like a township.
Right.
Yeah, I've used them a lot too, and I know you've likely seen the detail or the challenges going on in Europe where they're starting to
They're cracking
reduce
down.
limit, understandably, which I'm not suggesting is our issue here, but my only concern, I don't know that we have a leg to stand on with it, is like maximum occupancy and those kinds of things, because to your point, it's one thing if it's a family visiting their college kid, whatever, it's another if it's 30 people, for a football game sort of thing. Yeah. But
Well, it's something to consider, it doesn't seem to be a problem now, but
right,
Yeah,
I just think the trend is,
the trend is,
people don't like them.
right,
and
I've used them all the time.
as you may know, Dublin has outlawed them completely, except for 2 weeks per year. So no short-term rentals can operate within the city limits of Dublin for more than 2 weeks a year.
I
it
wonder
happened to
what
be
those
the
2
weeks of
weeks
the
are.
Memorial.
Happens to be the weeks of the Memorial
Right.
Tournament.
Self-
But it is 2 weeks.
self-serving,
Yes.
self-serving that.
And so that's one end of the spectrum.
Right.
And, you know, so my answer to the person, you know, requesting the information was, no, we do not have any regulations against short-term rentals at this point. Other townships are putting them in place and we may consider them in the future. That was the answer.
Well, that's a good answer.
Good answer.
Okay. We did receive the variance application for the West Case Road property from Jack Reynolds on Thursday of last week. And it was put in your drop boxes today. And so I have emailed council to confirm what the process is. What the process is, the way I understand it, is that within 40 days of receiving that application last Thursday, the zoning commission has to have a public hearing. And the notices have to go out to the neighbors within 200 feet. And we have to have a public hearing on that within 40 days of the submission of that application. And then within 30 days after that, the zoning commission has to recommend to the board of trustees a recommendation based on theirs. The board of trustees then has to set a public hearing again. And has to give notice in the paper at least 10 days. And then the board of trustees has 20 days after that to make a decision to adopt or not adopt. So that's the process, the way I understand. So,
In this particular project on West Case is, I thought we were splitting a lot.
so no, we are putting the entire 2.15 acres into an overlay district
Okay,
that will be condominiumized.
okay,
And the maximum number of buildings per the submitted text is 10 buildings. Maximum minimum square footage per unit is 2,000 square foot per unit. The text is in your drop down or your Dropbox to review.
Yeah.
I am later this week trying to get scheduled with zoning commission that public hearing. So
okay.
it has to be within 40 days of receipt, which was last Thursday.
That's the intent of the project.
Correct.
This is property that, correct me if I'm wrong, we did the agreement with Columbus, just came back to the township.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's currently a single family home on 2.15 acres. It sits across the street from Preston Place. So the entryway would be at right angles to the other entryway. Jack Reynolds from Smith and Hale is the one representing the owner, and that's the one that presented the application. So there's that. So we have a variance request for a pool on Snuffer Place that, together with an existing pergola, exceeds the maximum square footage for accessory structures. And the pool would be closer to the accessory structure than code allows, so we have a variance request that was submitted last week. And we're trying to schedule a hearing for that the week of September the 9th. And that should not be complicated. That's it.
Anything else under zoning?
One quick thing. Free service sign,
Yeah,
Highview and
Closing.
Clubview.
Highview and Clubview.
Tree and stump removal.
It's in the truck, I think. I think I pulled it.
Okay.
I pulled 3 today. That may not be one of the ones I pulled,
No, I
but
pay attention to that.
Who's there today?
Was there today?
okay. It may not be there now. I thought I pulled 3 in that area today, so, but thank you.
Kind of catty corner from the lawns.
Yeah.
I actually called because I need a tree.
And you told him, I saw on your sign that I just pulled and stuck in the back of my
Curious
car.
sign, I mean,
I didn't complain. I took a picture as I was driving back. I'm like, oh, I can use a truck with a stump remove.
So now the police need to get involved because you're using your phone while you're driving also. so.
I was at a stop at the port.
Yeah, yeah. Fishy as Mr.
Road department.
No real update on the salt barn. The drawings were submitted. well, were turned over to them for sign off last Friday. The drawings that were turned in were not stamped. We should have the stamped drawings this week so they can do the Dublin application. Is what their goal is, to have it in this week. Under old business, the OPWC grant application, Ronnie Mims from the Franklin County Engineers has sent us the project cost estimate with funding scenarios for LTIP and SKIP. We need to pick a scenario that works with us for the project. On the LTIP, the local transportation program, I would like to recommend that we go with scenario B, with our local match being the $200,932, with the remaining of the project being asking for grant money. I'm not exactly sure the scoring on these projects, how it compares to other scores.
But this was the one though that we're up against one other entity, correct? And that $200,000 kind of keeps us within that budget that was already.
Yeah, the LTIP program sets aside 500,000 each year to go to just townships. And the county is working on one other application for another township, competing on these funds. And we're scoring similar to the other township.
They're not inclined to tell us who that other is.
They're not until I see the township is.
I mean, the scenarios don't get us much more points. I mean, the differentiation between the points is not that huge. I guess it's more of a factor of how much we're willing to put up or how much we have put up for the cash match.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Onto the SKIP, which is the loan and grant options. It's recommended that we try to score as close to 200 or higher. Scenario B and C has us scoring in the 200s. But going past years, the low score was 204. Last year, Ronnie said was a rare year and the low score was 185 chosen, which in her opinion is unheard of, them going with that low of a score. I would like to try to get the highest score on SKIP with the loan option, with scenario B.
Scenario B or
Scenario B or
scenario C?
Scenario C, sorry.
Okay,
We were going back and forth with Ronnie, whether
It's-
it's shoot for B or
it's 2
C.
points.
It's 2 points.
yeah. So LTIP, you want scenario B, you wants to approve that, and Skip, you want scenario C.
I would recommend C, just so we can get the highest.
We have sufficient funds to cover the cash match that we're talking about.
Yeah, we budget 250 typically every year.
Okay.
Or you do.
Do you?
What was our score again?
For which one?
Scenario C. We're at 170?
LTIP, we'd be at 168, right?
Right.
With scenario B. And
Okay.
SKIP, we'd be at 201. Or I'm sorry, 203. Now I'm doing it, yeah.
We'll have scenarios here. The loan, the term on the loans, there on SKIP is 2 to 15 year loan, with 0% interest.
It's a 0%.
It's 0.
And it can be paid back early if that's what the board ends up wanting to do.
Do we have to determine the term? I'm sorry.
No, we don't have to determine the term ahead of time. Just an option.
Good.
Good.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize, township to proceed under the help funding source, scenario B, and under the skip, funding source, scenario C, and commit the appropriate cash match to each of those.
Second.
Vote,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you.
Do you have that I need to sign tonight or? do you need it?
No, they
Okay.
gave us a sample, which is in there, but we'll send
Okay.
this back to Ronnie, she'll finalize it.
Yeah, she's gonna put the different funding scenario in place and,
Does, somebody have to sign this?
Michelle,
She does, Michelle does.
Michelle does, okay.
that's all I have.
Fire EMS, the report, your UA reports on our file, I think.
Right.
Anything else beyond that?
I got an email from Chief Zimmer. He said they're moving to a new RMS system. So that we could probably expect some delays with our reports. I think several years ago, Worthington went through something similar.
Anything else under fire EMS? Anything under police?
Other than they've gotten it in motion with.
Madam Administrator, the floor is yours.
Nothing new on the ODOT. The Mount Carmel, I did get the reciprocal agreements that y'all signed off to the attorney for your copy back. As soon as I get that, I'll notify Thomas so they can add it to the insurance. There was a gentleman here regarding fencing. Did you?
I'm still waiting on his quote, Trudeau Fence. I have quotes from Paul Peterson, Superior Fence, and the guys that are doing the salt barn. Superior Fence and Easy Done is their quotes, they've quoted a 6-foot fence. Paul Peterson quoted an 8-foot, but I'm having them redo a quote for a 6, so we have that comparison as well. I'm still waiting on Trudeau Fence to give me their quote.
Do we have a preference on 6 foot or 8 foot?
But I would like the chief to be here to make that recommendation. Speaking to Paul Peterson, a lot of municipalities that are putting in fence or typically putting in the 8 foot.
6 foot seems more residential.
Right.
Right,
But do we only have the 8 foot from the one company then?
I'll have 8 foot
From
from
the-
Trudeau and Paul Peterson.
I got
I've asked Easy Done Eric to clarify on his quote what it's for. I'm assuming with the cost where it's coming in, it is a 6 foot.
I was asked to work on coming up with a 360 performance evaluation. So I gave it to Luke. And he did what I think is a really good job. So I did reach out to several of my HR group and other administrators. What you see in your Dropbox is comprised of questions from City of Marysville, Jefferson, and Madison, I think was the other one. So he had emailed this to all of you. We'd like to get some feedback here within the next week or two to have it on the agenda in September, either the 1st or 2nd in September, so we can move forward with that. The fraud training, Mr. Oker got a gold star, he got it back to me within 24 hours. I just want to throw that in there, so.
Somebody open it for you?
I know, you did it all by yourself, that's.
We're not keeping track, but
But try and keep
let the
it,
record reflect.
let the record reflect, right? In overachieving, so just keep in mind that we need those back by the 1st of September to comply with the state auditor's requirements. Let's see, so the public meetings, I have Worthington Hills set up for the police levy. I'm trying to get some feedback Michelle, you and I talked about having the traffic calming and police at the same meeting. But some of the other feedback came a little differently. So what I need to know is. You've already posted out there that the traffic calming would be on the 2nd. So. If folks don't want to do it all in one meeting, then I guess I would suggest we move the police levy part to a different date. Just because that we haven't pushed out at all like that.
Well, I mean, I can change the date if I need to, but I gotta tell you, if we go on the 2nd and and wanna talk about the levy. And we haven't had a conversation about,
We need
Well,
to
we
do
were
the
talking about
traffic
maybe
calming
doing it in
before.
September,
oh, okay.
so if that would work.
If we do it separately, we have to do the traffic calming before. That's my opinion.
I agree.
We need
I agree.
we need to go and listen. And we need
Yes.
to,
I agree.
okay, so before we go start asking for something, so we can do the traffic calming in September. And then do the levy on the 2nd. I think that would be, if we're not gonna do it the same night, I guess is what I'm saying.
So what I need is. To know what date y'all want that to be, so that I can, or give me a couple, so I can check with the school to make sure I'm able to get those dates.
Are we thinking like a Tuesday or Wednesday sort of night or Thursday?
Definitely not Monday or Friday, but
Right,
yeah,
right,
Tuesday,
What's
Wednesday,
the
Thursday.
rough time period again?
September.
So the last week of September.
I don't have anything in the evening that I can't move on a Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah, I'm fine.
17th, and then the 24th and 26th, I can't.
17th, 24th, and 26th.
Right, correct.
Okay,
So. Like the 18th, 19th, 25th.
that work? I'll check to see what's available with the
Yes.
school
Yeah, 18th, 19th works.
and start at 6 p.m.
Wednesday, Thursday.
18th and 19th would be preferable, that way it's. The meeting on the 2nd is 2 weeks after that, so there's some time.
That works.
That works.
18th and 19th. Okay, I'll shoot for those two then.
Okay.
Okay. I met with William Murdoch and Eileen Libby from Norpsey. They came in with our annual report, which I've also added to your email. There's some. I think I sent this out to everyone. There's some really nice scholarships out there for employees, in certain cases, their dependents and spouses. So, that's been shared with, I believe I sent it to all of you as well. And then there's some other highlights in there that they were kind of discussing as well. The next meeting, if you remember, I think we talked about this, there was a young couple who responded to someone that was in, I believe it was having a heart attack. And the husband did CPR until units could get there. The wife was going, trying to get help. Jim Cochran from Worthington Fire had asked if we could do some kind of a recognition jointly, so we scheduled that for September 4th. There was a separate situation where Officer Conto was the first on scene, and Assistant Chief Carpenter would like to recognize him as well that night for his efforts. The last thing on my agenda is I've got the community shredded apart scheduled for October 19th. And the typical hours 9 to 11 at Brookside. And then 11:30 to 1:30 at Worthington Hills. That's a bi-week pro issue, at least for now. So that's all I've got, unless y'all have some questions for me.
Two things, one. Talked to Jeff Snyder at Rumpke today. And I'm sending his contact information to you. If you'd email him and give your information and Luke's information to set something up about the ethnic renewed program. They would like to work, their communications team would like to work with us to get it the way. Even though I told him that we were just gonna try steel Bexley's, but I'd rather. Or new,
Just, I don't know that we've talked about the Hefty program is something where you can recycle things that typically you can't recycle. So you just put it in a bright orange bag in your recycling, and then when it gets to the center, they take that out, it goes to Hefty, but it's things like Kroger, plastic bags, and some other things that you took. Have to go in the landfill, so it sounds like it's a pretty good program.
The other thing is, I've gotten to where Andy is now, so it took me a couple years. It's about the, and I talked to you earlier, it's about the password issue.
Yes,
And you're gonna reach out.
I already did.
Oh, you did?
Ahmad was on site today. If we change how often if we change the length of time in between changing passwords, it's for everybody. You
Or no
can't
more.
separate it out. So
What's the other alternative?
one of the alternatives is to do once every 6 months, but you're gonna be looking at minimum a 16-character password. So. And I know it's a headache for you guys because you don't get the reminders we do.
Listen,
But-
I'm cool with 50 word. I just don't, like, what drives me crazy is you do 50, then it's like you add a character, and then it's like, oh, you can't add a character, so you're doing, it's like, if we could just make them as brutal as it has to be. So I just cut and paste, put it in, I'm good,
So would you rather
You
do?
clearly
once-
haven't watched the fraud video.
There was
That
nothing,
was something.
there was nothing in the fraud
Pasting.
video about passwords.
Pasting passwords.
So
Yeah.
do you want me to have it changed once every 6 months, is my question.
Yeah, that's cool, but it's
Yes.
just like, can I reuse it like after like a year or two, the same password, like
Can I
regenerating?
make it my phone number and my.
And my social security number.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Whatever it
I
needs
mean,
to be.
Once every 6
Yeah.
months, okay.
My concern has been, because we don't work here. I mean, when I'm at work, every quarter we change our password, but I get a countdown. It says, in 15 days, your password is gonna be invalid. You need to change it. So I get a little reminder and it helps me get to that point. This, I get no reminder whatsoever, other than when I stopped getting township emails. And
Right.
It got me when I had to go chair a planning commission meeting, which by the way got canceled. I didn't know about it because they only have my township email. So I walked down to the courthouse, which I hate going down the courthouse. And the commissioner's hearing room is dark. And immediately I realized again, I didn't get notification,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So I just, if it's every 6 months, then it can be in our calendars, it can be in Beth's calendar to remind us, hey, coming up, you better change your password.
Well.
I'm sorry.
Michelle, these are real problems.
It is,
This is,
it's true. It's annoying.
so it's Beth's responsibility to remind you to change your
No, I'm saying,
password.
I'll have it in my calendar, she's gonna have it in her calendar, and we'll remind each
We're
other.
gonna have a new calendar.
The
So
real-
that's fine. I will give them a call tomorrow. I'll start making the arrangements to do that. I just needed to make everyone aware that it was gonna be an all or nothing, all staff. Or no changes to anybody. So I will take care of this.
The road guys will like it too. 'Cause
I know.
The road
they-
guys.
I know they
We're
will.
doing it for the road guys.
Yeah,
No, you're not.
you got your back.
It sounded good.
Fiscal officer.
Request a motion for approval of payroll and disbursement.
I'll make that motion.
Second vote,
Yes.
Yes.
I want to go into executive session just because we have people waiting patiently, so we're gonna move to recess into executive session pursuant to 121.22 G8 of the Ohio Revised Code for the purpose of considering confidential information related to negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance. Such information is directly related to a request for economic development assistance that is to be provided or administered under sections 5709.73 to 5709.75 of the Ohio Revised Code. The executive session is necessary to protect the possible investment of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project by roll call vote.
Mr. Rober.
Yes.
Mr. Cheney.
Yes.
Mr. English.
Yes.
Let's take a 2 to 3 minute break.